I'm pretty sure you all know this video. This, of course, is Casey Neistat's Make It Count, which went on to be one of Casey's all-time greatest hits. It's actually number 4 in terms of views. If you sort all his videos by views, it's number 4. So it's a big deal. And what very few people know is that this video wasn't in fact edited by Casey, and a lot of the ideas that are in that video are in fact from this guy.
I'm so grateful. Not in my wildest dreams would I imagine that there would be people on YouTube that would stick up for me.
And what did he get for it? Well, we in Germany did at least something for him. Let me show you.
We even built a square for him, see? Well, yeah, we built a statue for him.
See? Max Joseph.
Now, that Max Joseph over there was, of course, the first king of Bavaria. But the Max Joseph I'm talking about is, for me, the king of editing and filmmaking.
I made this video with Casey, I think 12 years ago.
A few of the things that he did already back then were entirely new and groundbreaking. And ever since I learned about him a few months ago, I realized that there were so many things any creator, filmmaker and editor could learn from Max Joseph. And this is what this video is about. 4 lessons that anybody should learn from Max Joseph. Let's go.
I came all the way across the city just to make a clip of this statue. It better be worth it.
Now, the first lesson is one that became really evident to me when I first watched the breakdown of Make It Count on Digital Spaghetti. In every larger production, the number of people involved is really high. You will have somebody who writes the script, a script writer. You will have a director. You will have the actual cast, people on camera. You'll have the director of photography. Then you'll have plenty of other people. And right at the very end, somewhere, you'll have the editor. The problem with this is that the editor has to work with whatever they are creating. And in order to turn it into something great, the editor is not allowed to call the shots. But of course, for Make It Count, that's a different story.
So another thing we did was, like, everywhere we went, I was kind of like filming Casey, and I'd be like, Casey, turn around. Like, Casey, where are we? Like, I would kind of like give him some prompts.
Why does Make It Count feel so seamless and great? And why does it have so many matching cuts? Well, because they, Casey and Max, already thought about what the finished product was.
The thing is, the magic trick is that we did a ton of those things, and then we only showed a couple of them.
And that is such an important lesson for me, because on the one side, you have your editing skills, and on the other side, you have your production skills. And once you learn more about editing, you will become more clever when it comes to your production. And in the end, the product will greatly benefit from your editing vision. If you already know what to turn this thing into, then your videos will be entirely better. But let's move on to the second lesson, and I recommend we go to the studio for that. You see, I've always had a musical mind. Let me show you. I am by no means a good piano player. But still, I'm writing a song right now because I think I understand at least the combination between emotion, music, and images. And I've always had the ability to work with that. Max Joseph, however, uses sound and music with such precision and commitment that there are a lot of things you can learn from him. Take this scene from Make It Count, for example.
So this is one of my bag of tricks. I've done a lot of montage editing before this. If you want to get out of the song for a second, you need a loud noise, or like something needs to break it. Like if a window breaks or something, then you can slam cut the music out.
This moment is so special because the music pauses. And when did he pause the music? He uses another sound to pause the music. If you're an experienced editor, then this is a trick you've known for years, but this is something that really opened my eyes when I saw it, and I've been using it ever since. And that's also the reason why I'm making this video and giving you these lessons, because I think the lessons that you can learn from Max Joseph, they are so practical. And they're even a lot more practical than the lessons you can learn from somebody like Casey Neistat. Let me explain that to you. I need a coffee, it's still early. Have you ever wondered what you can learn from Casey Neistat? Well, you can learn a lot of things from Casey Neistat. However, it is very, very hard to copy Casey Neistat. Why? Because you don't have the ingredients that Casey has. Because Casey has two major protagonists. It's him and New York City. And if you happen to live in New York City, okay, you've got at least one protagonist, but still it's very hard to copy what he does. Of course, you can manhandle things, something that he likes to do and he has been doing forever. But really, copy what he's doing is almost impossible. And that's where I think the biggest difference between those two lies. Casey is massively inspiring. There's no questions about that, and he's inspired my journey and my work to a really great extent. Max, and that's also the reason why I'm making this video, Max, for me, has become a really great teacher in the last weeks and months. And you'll realize that in the third lesson. It's getting real warm now. I think I first came across this lesson when I watched Max Joseph break down the first video of his happiness series, which I do recommend you watch. And it's about how to properly use interviews in videos.
When you ask people about their past, they start listing things off and they kind of go like this. But then if they see something over there, they're like, oh my God, or they tell a joke and like they get louder.
And this is really important for my work because a lot of the work that I do requires me to do interviews in companies. And then I turn those interviews into films that will be used in companies to communicate something.
But when they have to talk about something that's wrote or that they've talked about a lot and they have a practice, they kind of have a canned response to it, they kind of talk like this. So I try to not use any of that.
And in the past, when editing interviews, I was always fixated on words. What are people saying? When I watched Max Joseph talk about the first video of his happiness series, I think my coffee is done.
I realized that he's more interested in
the emotions of the people in front of the camera.
So you're looking at not the words that they're saying, but the particular emotional response that they're having in that moment or whatever it is.
Yes. And I think that, and I've done this in other videos, you could literally make the whole interview those non sequiturs and it totally works.
And I think I fully understood this when I watched Max Joseph talk about how he made his very famous John Baldessari video.
In 100 years, John Baldessari suspects he will be best remembered as...
the guy that put dots over people's faces.
And by the way, I do recommend you check out all the videos that I used as my sources. You will find them all here in the description. And I'm not quoting too much out of those videos simply because you have to watch them by yourself. There's so much more in them in addition to the lessons that I learned from them. But there's one more lesson that I want to share with you. I'm calling this lesson Lead the Audience. I might as well say dance with the audience or how to direct the audience, because that is something that I think Max Joseph does extremely well in all of his videos. Now, first of all, we also need somebody else for that, or at least a quote from him. And I remember Werner Herzog, the famous German filmmaker, once saying, "When I'm filming, I'm like a thief. And when I get back home, I spread out all the loot
and then start to sort it, organize it in a way so it makes sense. And I think Max is extremely talented at that. Look, a few months ago, my brother-in-law said to me, Ben, I think you're a really talented editor. And I didn't really know back then if I could take him seriously, simply because I really love him, he loves me, and I didn't know if what he was saying was actually the truth. But the more I learn about what it means to be a good editor and what it means to turn all that material and loot into something useful, the more I think I can believe him. And Max simply is a genius editor. And you see, it's harder to spot good editing than bad editing. Because if a video, a film is edited badly, you will know. You will realize, even if you have no knowledge whatsoever about editing. When, however, a movie sucks you in, a video or a film completely embraces you, and you feel like you're in another world in an instant, it's a lot harder to tell what somebody did actually do in order to make that happen. Of course, there are a couple of tricks. Of course, there are a couple of things you can do. However, maybe you know that book. Editing is like making music. You can feel when it's great. You can feel when it does something to you, but it's very hard to say what is done in order to make that happen. However, if you do watch some of the work that Max Joseph did, and you listen to him how he actually made the decisions that he made, then I guarantee you that you will become a lot better at your own videos, at editing, at how to structure your ideas and stories. And this is the reason why I wanted to introduce Max Joseph to you in this video. So thanks very much, Max, for sharing everything you do. I don't think that Max Joseph actually ever sees this, but still, I want to say thank you, because my work has benefited greatly from everything you did, and this is the reason why I wanted to share what you did with the world, simply because I think there's so much to learn from what you're doing. And to you watching this, if you're still watching, thank you for watching, and I hope you take those lessons seriously, implement them into your work, and make something great with them. Let me know if there are any other lessons you learned from Max Joseph and what to do with them. So, thanks.